Welcome to YHC TV's hometown program today, and we're quite fortunate to have a local from the Bloomfield, Aquila area. He and his wife are present today, and welcome to the Hometown Heroes program, Fred Ward and Miss Ida Ward. Glad to have you all with us today.
Thank you.
Fred, you've lived in this area about all your life, hadn't you?
Yes, around him, yes.
Yeah. And he was one of 8 children, and there was Roy.
No, there was one of 9 children.
Oh, that's right, one of 9.
My sister died too.
That's right, one of 9 children. And we had Mackie, he died in World War II, and Roy and Joy were twins, and they live, well, Roy lives in the Bloomfield area. And there was Jack and Bob, and Catherine and Katie, and Miss Kitty.
And Joy.
Yeah, and Joy was Roy's sister. Yeah, twin sister. And we don't have someone with us today that's in the 80s, and we don't have anyone with us today as a guest that's in the 90s. Mr. Fred is 101 and will be 102 in March 11th to be exact. And we really welcome him to the show today. And Fred had two daughters, Miss Charlotte Vaughn, and she lives here in Dexter, and Judy Bradshaw, she lives in the St. Louis area. But Miss Ida and Fred have been married 55 years, and boy, we're tickled to death to have you with us today.
Thank you.
And this is not something we're really unique. He has a unique situation. Fred was in the U.S. Cavalry in you was in the U.S. Cavalry in the late 20s. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you was down in Mexico for a while, wasn't you?
Right.
Yeah. Was it pretty tough down there?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Mexico.
Did you spend a lot of time around Mexico? Now he was trained in field artillery, and they put.
That was right.
Yeah.
Spent about 6 years in the field army.
Did you?
Spent about 6 years in the coastal artillery.
I see.
And I don't know how much. All different places.
And you had to pull all that stuff with horses and mules when you traveled? And
Right.
and there was there 200 men in that outfit, in your cavalry outfit?
Yeah.
Was they? And how old were you when you joined up in the cavalry? How old were you?
Yeah. I joined the army when I was 16 years old.
When you were 16 years old, you joined.
Spent almost the rest of my life. So it leaves me about
Huh. And
50, 60 years.
yeah, I think 55 years, I think's what I've got down, something like that.
Yes, sir.
And I understand you was a pretty good shot with a cannon. Did the Mexican army fire at you a few times down there along the border?
Right.
And you told me that you'd unhook that cannon and wheel it around and fired at them, and they'd go to waving a white flag. And then you'd load another one up and fire at them again, wouldn't you?
Right. Right.
And they'd wave it a little higher if it wasn't broken too. But anyways, I think it's really neat today that we do have someone that was in the U.S. Cavalry before they was in the Army. And he told me that he was a cannoneer, and he was really good with that cannon. He could sight it in and put it right in their shirt pocket. Did you have to go over in Mexico any, or far as battles, or was you mostly stay on the Texas side?
Right.
Did you? Now, where was you was at St. Myre. Where was St. Myre at?
Different places.
Was it? Yeah. And you had to do what you had to do. Things were tough then, wasn't they? As far as getting around.
That's right.
That old Texas landscape, it was pretty rough, wasn't it?
Right. Yes, sir.
Now, how many horses did it take to pull those cannons?
Those cannons back in those days, it takes 6 big horses.
Huh.
3 let's see, swing drive, wheel drive, and the lead drive.
Oh my.
6 to the,
Huh.
and then later on it'll take more.
Uh-huh.
The horses got heavier.
Did they?
The artillery got heavier.
Yeah.
Everything got heavier.
Huh.
So therefore they had to increase the power
Yeah.
to pull all that up.
Now you had to unhook them to fire them, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, sure.
Oh, and then and later on when you got in the Army, you was in basic training. Where was you at in basic training? Do you remember?
Basic training, Fort Bliss, Texas.
Fort Bliss, Texas.
Fort Bliss. That's the suburbs of, what's your name? El Paso.
El Paso.
Yeah, suburbs of El Paso.
Now, did you have one leader that Mr. Fred? He never did back up for much of anything, but he had one guy that kind of wanted to roughhouse you a little bit, and he wanted to send you right to the front line, didn't he?
Right. Yeah.
Well, who got sent to the front line? You or him?
Yeah.
This fella, I don't know if it was a sergeant or not, but anyways, Mr. Fred got to go to the Panama Canal and help the ships through the Panama Canal, and he saw this man on one of the ships, and he hollered at him, and he said, "Where are you going?" He said, "To the front line." Anyways, Mr. Fred got shipped to the Panama Canal, and he had to work there, and I think, Fred, was you at the Panama Canal 10 years?
Yeah, about that.
10 years.
That easy 10 years.
It was easy 10 years.
I spent 6 years overseas up in Texas,
Yeah.
El Paso, Texas. Then I spent about 6 more years at Fort Bliss, Texas.
Did you?
That's where I got my basic training.
Was it? Yeah.
At Fort Bliss, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I was 16 years old.
16. My goodness.
Then the rest of my life, here and there.
Yeah.
This and that, and this and that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, how many locks was there down there at the Panama Canal to send those ships through?
Oh, I believe, let's see, Mayflower's locks, Flower's locks, and there's St. Peter's locks, I believe.
The Mayflower
Yeah.
and one other one. I don't remember the name.
Lock, Center lock, they call it. Yeah. Oh, I believe it wasn't El Paso.
Well, that's okay. Anyways, they were 3, wasn't there?
Yes,
Yeah. And they was pretty long.
yes.
And now, how did the ships get through there? Did you have to pull them with what? What did you pull them with?
We pull, I don't know, but for some days they would get 8, 10, maybe 15 in a day's time.
Uh-huh.
That's including the ones we towed through the tow.
Yeah.
Went hooking to the tow ship
Uh-huh.
and everything, count all of that.
I see. Now, did you tow those boats or the ships with mules or horses?
No. You getting back to it now.
Am I?
Horses.
Horses. Okay.
Everything horses.
Wasn't no mules there.
I'll never forget it. Everything was horses.
Okay.
To pull the cannon through.
Yeah.
To get all the ammunition through.
Yeah.
Everything to move is with your hands.
My goodness.
Oh,
Huh. No wonder you got such good muscles today.
sir.
That's why you got good muscles today, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's so.
What's the name? Peter McGill. Peter McGill. I got his name down here. That was something to do with the locks, wasn't it?
McKeel, yeah, I believe a set of locks.
Oh, was it? Yeah. That's right.
A set of locks by
Yeah.
that McKeel.
Yeah. Now you told me there was a few snakes down there too. You had to look out for.
Yeah, I smoke.
What kind of snakes was there down there?
Anything you wanted.
No, them old snakes. Snakes.
What do you say?
Snakes?
Smoke.
No.
No, snakes.
What kind of snakes was there down there?
Oh, boa constrictors.
Yeah.
Was the one mostly deadly. And there was rattlers.
Rattlers.
Rattlers, boa constrictors.
Now you told me about one called a brushmaster. Brushmaster. I've never heard of a brushmaster before. You said he was a bad snake.
Yeah. I've been around those places,
Yeah.
but I never did spend much there. I had to get a chance to get around,
Yeah.
and I made my way around.
Did you?
Slow going someday.
I bet. Huh.
Yep.
I guess you had met a lot of nice
Oh, yeah.
nice people down there too, didn't you?
Oh, gosh, man.
Now, Mr. Fred told me one time he was who was it that had the polo horses?
The polo money, they had us some kind of an income. Or for that, especially for that
Did they?
polo team, they called them.
Polo team.
And I worked for the polo team
Did you?
about 6 years.
6 years you worked for the polo team.
This company of mine, he was the boss of the thing,
Uh-huh.
Sergeant Bocon.
Bogart.
He was over all things.
I see.
I stayed with that man 10 years.
10 years.
Anytime they had a solo stolen match,
Yeah?
always called on Sergeant Ward
Well, good deal.
to go take them out and get them through.
Huh.
And of course, sometimes I wish I never got rated like that, but I did.
Now, you told me, too, if they got caught mistreating one of them horses, what happened?
Oh, yeah.
They could throw you in the guardhouse, didn't they, if you mistreated one of them polo ponies?
Yeah, that polo's something.
Well, yeah,
Good game if you guys used to it.
yeah. Now, you told me you got to play a polo in Mexico City.
I did get to do a few games.
Well, that was fun.
My company commander,
Yeah?
he taken what do you call it, training,
Yeah, yeah.
and he had me right along with him.
Well, good deal.
Train in case something happened.
Yeah, yeah.
I would halfway know what to do.
Was that ball hard to hit with that club while you was running that horse wide open?
It always was for me. And they get that doing all that power, they go pow.
Yeah,
pow,
yeah, yeah.
forward, sideways, up there. Man, that's
Oh,
something, that polo.
huh.
My company commander name was Bocon.
Bogart, Mr.
He
Bogart.
really liked that polo.
Did he? Huh.
And he always take me with him when they went on those polo trips.
Yeah.
He would always take me along.
Well, good deal.
I'd get to do nothing but that.
Huh.
Sometimes 6 months
6 months.
in one spot.
Oh my.
And
Huh.
then move up and down the coast.
Now,
Just everything.
yeah. How did they move those horses, Fred? Did they just ride them or did they haul them on train?
What's that, the horses?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, sir. By train.
By train? Okay.
Everything by train.
Hmm. And you had to stay right in there with them too, did you?
Yeah. They had some of the saddle horses,
Yeah.
training horses.
Uh-huh.
They stayed right long, pretty long to where I was.
Uh-huh.
Then they have training. I had to be along.
Yeah.
3 of us
I see.
stayed wherever the captain was.
Huh.
It was a cool long time.
Huh.
Good game.
Now, I understood you down around Panama, the mosquitoes was bad. You had to fight that old malaria all the time, didn't you?
I had everything.
You had everything while you was there, did you?
I still got a case of it. I
Do you?
never have gotten completely rid of it.
Huh.
Nope, I still got it.
Huh.
It's easy for me to get.
Well, do they give you quinine every day here?
No. Down there they did. I don't know. They may give me some medicine.
Yeah. Is that quinine pretty tasty?
Oh, yeah. But you had to stay with it.
Yeah.
Well, that stuff was strong, good Lord.
I've never had a taste of it, and I hope I never have to have.
Well, I hope you don't eat it. I hope you don't eat it. That's the only alternative we have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Was the old polo game and the polo itself.
Yeah.
That's what kept us going.
Was it? Huh. Well, good. Huh. Now, I guess with that many soldiers around, once in a while you got in a poker game, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, we wasn't playing poker, shooting poker. We'd be playing poker. We wasn't playing polo.
Yeah, yeah.
And we played polo. We had James Hendley among us,
Uh-huh.
the enlisted men.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get to play with the officers. I didn't get that.
You didn't?
But I just stayed with them
Well, good.
and taking care of their horses
Mm-hmm.
and the equipment
Yeah.
and everything that goes with it.
Now, one time there was a preacher got onto you for playing poker. You remember that preacher?
Preacher Smith.
Preacher Smith?
Oh, yeah, Spirit.
Well, tell us what happened to Preacher Smith.
Yes, sir. Well, I don't hardly know.
Well, he broke the poker game up, didn't he?
Yeah, he come around, tap us on our shoulder. Hey, now, boys, you're going to have it to break this game up. No more poker games.
Yeah, no more.
And I cut it out. The commander said, you don't want any poker games after the polo game and that.
Huh.
We're going to cut it out completely. And he did. He cut it out. He was passed off about half the time.
Huh.
Playing poker when everyone on duty. The rest of them wanted to play blackjack.
Yeah. Now he gathered up he caught you one day and gathered up the funds, and you never seen him again, did you?
Right.
He run off with the money, didn't he?
Right, though.
You never seen him again. I bet you still played a little poker though, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, we slip in a game every now and then.
Slip in the game every now and then. Well, good deal.
Commander, he'd slip around.
Well,
I told everyone, you got to break this up. Break it up and keep it moving. Sergeant Ward, you get busy
yeah.
and get on the ball and stop this poker game. I'm going to hold you responsible
Oh, heck.
for everything that's got poker game. I said, okay, I do the best I can.
Okay. Well, anyways, you still got to play a little poker now and then, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Later on, you. Okay. Mr. Fred. Mr. Fred. What the girls look like down there at Panama?
What's that?
How'd the girls look like down there?
Oh, that wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad.
Spanish, they called them.
Yeah.
Some of them they called Spaniards.
Uh-huh.
And they were pretty nice.
Were they?
Educated pretty well.
Well, good.
They done pretty good.
Yeah.
They would help us and clean it up. Clean up the room, the apartments.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'd help us in the kitchen.
I say, help you in the
They
kitchen?
They would work upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
You'd always bring in the helper.
Yeah.
They would really help us out on it.
Did
Wasn't bad. Wasn't bad.
what was the best food you had to eat down there?
Sure.
What was the best kind of food you had to eat?
Oh, we had beans, spaghetti, and I don't know,
Just a little everything.
all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All kind of canned goods.
Yeah.
Stuff is like about like it is now.
Well, good. Yeah, yeah.
Food was.
Now you was telling me you could still, if you was able to, you could still throw the harness on an old horse pretty dang quick, couldn't you?
Yes, sir.
What's the fastest you ever threw the harness on?
When the harness time.
Yeah.
We had I had a horse team. I had to have 3 horses
Yeah.
ready to go
Huh.
in 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes, 3?
After we get ready to move out.
Yeah. Huh.
Sometimes I'd be a minute or 2 low.
Yeah. Now you told me some of them been taking 5 minutes, did you?
Yes, sir.
What happened if they got too long?
They'd try to rush us up a little bit.
Did they?
Sometimes they may give you a little extra duty.
Did they? Maybe a little KP or something?
Yeah. a little bit of everything.
Yeah, yeah. What about your brother Roy? Could he throw the harness on a horse today?
No, but he's too young.
He's too young.
He's a lot too young.
Yeah.
He's about 30 or 40 years.
Is he? Now could he drive him?
He was a ball team.
Yeah, he a better ball player than he was.
He played and drove the two horse teams.
Yeah, I see.
The 2 horse team was what would pull the counters.
Yeah.
They all pulled by 2 horse team.
Uh-huh.
And 3 more horses go. In other words, it's 6 horses
Uh-huh.
to the 1 step.
Yeah.
For a total
Mm-hmm.
second for pan.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, but I don't know if I forgot it. But I know it's polo team, not the polo, but the cannoneers and all that.
Yeah, cannoneers. Yeah.
I was on just the right age for that.
Yeah.
And Roy, my kid brother, he come along behind me. They put him behind on him. He played the wagon, son.
He played in the wagon.
Drove the team.
Yeah, yeah.
Get out, help people get out.
Uh-huh.
He was extra smart.
Was he?
He was a good cannoneer.
Yeah.
He learned fast.
Now you had you had one brother that got killed in the war, didn't you? Mackie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was a paratrooper, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He tells things, good stories.
Yeah.
He understood this.
Huh.
He went in and saw staying in the war long. Wasn't much going on then, but
Yeah.
wasn't much going on for us. The war was concerned
Uh-huh.
back in his early days.
Right. Yeah.
But he was set.
Mm-hmm.
They kept him up to date. They'll turn the Panama Canal over.
I see.
Turn the Panama Canal over. Turn the Panama Canal. And, I don't know, I've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like all the ways to it.
Was you afraid that the Japanese might attack that Panama Canal? It'd have been a good place to hit, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
They'd have shut down a lot of shipping, wouldn't
Right.
they? It's a wonder they didn't try.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Fred, I don't want to wear you out today, but I sure thank you for being on here. How long's it been since you've been rabbit hunting?
Oh, yeah.
You used to bring my daddy some rabbits, didn't you?
You did?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah.
Fred, I want to give you something today.
All right.
I want to give you this hat here that says Hometown Heroes on it, and that's from the YHC TV crew.
Oh,
And I really appreciate you having on here today. All right, bud?
Glad to appreciate it.
Yes, sir. We're really privileged to have you.
I get lonesome sometimes
Yep.
talking old times and elbows. Boy, thanks a lot.
You betcha. You betcha.
That's a dandy.
Well, that'll wind it up today on this program. Hope you enjoyed our veteran today, Mr. Fred Ward. It's 101 years old. It's not every day we have this privilege to have a gentleman that's been in the U.S. Cavalry and the Army, and we were really privileged, and hope you was patient with us today and enjoyed the program.
With an interactive home security system from New Wave, your family comes home to peace of mind. Now we bring you the future of home security. Arm and disarm your system remotely from your office computer or iPhone. Even look in on family or pets with live video from inside your home. In an emergency, our 24/7 alarm monitoring responds with the help you need. Peace of mind wherever you are. Now available from New Wave Communications.
Well, welcome again to YHC-TV Hometown Heroes program. You know, we've had a lot of good response in our program so far, and if you'd like to contribute to this program, make a contribution, you can call the station, and we can even get, Tyler can get you copies, and you can get to Holt YHC-TV, and they'll mail you a copy or come by and pick one up for a fee. And if you'd like to help this program continue, just get a hold of Tyler or myself, and we'll be glad to have you help out. And today we are visiting Elmer and Virgie Wilson, and glad to have you today, Elmer. Miss Virgie.
Glad to be here. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, we're in their home today, sitting at their kitchen table, and we're going to talk to him a little while about his time in the service and growing up. And now, Elmer, where did you spend your childhood kind of growing up?
Most time up around Gravel Hill, north of Aquila, and pretty close to the kitty litter place as we know it up there now.
Now, Miss Virgie, where did you grow up?
Around Avert.
Around Avert. And now tell me a little bit about your courting days. Can you tell me anything about your courting? Has it been a little too long?
It's a little too long.
Was it being a little bit too pesty?
No.
No?
No.
Well,
He was a pretty good guy.
I like to hear good old love stories.
He tried.
And he succeeded, didn't he? Well, he got a dandy. And Miss Emma, we thank you for Miss Virgie. We thank you for sitting with us here. And Elmer, well, let me say this. If you'll notice, Elmer has some of his military attire on today, and he just completed honor guard up at the Veterans Cemetery with someone today, and he does that quite often, he and some other veterans, and it's a very noble and honorable thing to do. And how many of those would you say you've helped do, Elmer?
Well, our team, we started in September, last part of September, when the cemetery opened in 2003. And as of today, we've performed at 696.
My goodness.
And that's, of course, not all of them, but the Veterans Cemetery. We've done them in all over southeast Missouri, and up north, Forest Cape, down south, Kennett, and over Charleston, and various places. And nobody on the team has ever been at all of them, because somebody's got to be somewhere else.
Well, they got to go to the doctor once in a while.
I had to miss one last Thursday. We did one over Fisk, but I had another thing I had to do.
Yeah.
So nobody. I guess that I've done probably more of them than anybody else has on the team. And
Elmer, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you, or how young are you?
As of May the 3rd of this year, I was 90 years old.
90 years old, huh?
Yeah.
And you and Miss Virgie's had 67 years of marriage?
Last Friday we were married 67 years.
Where did you celebrate at?
Right here.
Right.
Dexter.
There you go.
Our son and his wife came down.
Well, good deal.
And that was their 17th anniversary. They got married on our
they did. Well, good deal. And his name's Lawrence?
Lawrence Wilson.
And he lives at Jeff City, right?
Out northeast of Jeff City.
Yeah. And you got one grandson and one great-grandson?
One great-granddaughter.
Granddaughter, yeah, that's right. Granddaughter, huh?
Yeah.
And if I remember right, you told me you went to school at Gravel Hill.
Gravel Hill, and then over at Links. I went to
Oh,
school.
yeah, Links, yeah.
Links.
And most people, Gravel Hill is kind of where the kitty litter or
There.
plant is, north of there, just on a county road.
County road.
And then Links is kind of west or east and north of Bloomfield. isn't it?
Northeast of Bloomfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just can't imagine going to school with all the different grades, 20, 25 students. Is that right?
Probably like that,
Yeah.
I guess.
And they tried to teach each and every one of you at your level.
Yeah.
And you probably had, what, 3 or 4 at your level, or maybe not that many?
Well, probably that many or more.
More?
Yeah.
Huh. Now, was there a school bus that picked you up?
No, we got there the walker the best way we could.
Best way you could.
Yes.
But your parents encouraged you to go to school, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Well, and I can understand. Well, that's just neat. You know, the Oak Ridge schoolhouse, it's now a church, but it's not. It's close by up there, and there was a lot of. I know you knew Gary Capps, and Gary
yes.
Capps went to school there.
He was on our military team.
Yes, he was.
He died. When he died. Yes.
And growing up, what kind of work did you do when you was a young man?
Mostly on the farm. I worked on a farm, and some at home, and some from other people that I hired out on the farm.
Yeah.
And
That's a lot of good experience. You see a little bit of everything and get submitted to a lot of fellows that want to play a joke on you once in a while, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yes. We had a lot of that too.
You went to, what'd you do, have wheat thrashings?
Oh, I participated in regular old wheat thrashings where they had the old separators that you had a bundle of wheat that you...
You know, there's still something about and I haven't seen but 1 or 2 wheat fields that's shocked up. It's just something that's really a pretty sight to go along and see shocks of wheat bundled up like that, and then they came along with their wagons and pitchforked them onto the wagon, didn't they?
Right. If you wasn't careful, you crossed them ditches, you could lose a load of wheat.
Oh, that would be good, low price.
And then you'd have to load it up again like that. That's happened too. Like that.
Did you ever pitch it too fast and choke one of them old things down?
We did, just for meanness, I guess, and a couple of us boys did, and so we get to rest that way. You know,
my.
Pile one on top of the other one, and the thresher wouldn't take it like it, it'd choke it down. And we get shut down for half an hour or more, or maybe an hour, like that.
Now, you wasn't. Were you married when the war started?
Yes. No. I was back from overseas.
Were you?
I was in an Army hospital.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And we got married in '45.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was.
Well, I'll ask you this: had Pearl Harbor? Have they attacked Pearl Harbor before or after you was in the service?
Before
you was in the service?
Yes, I was.
Now, when you heard that, how did that affect you and your family when you heard that?
Well, I was working in St. Louis in a big restaurant downstairs in the cleanup area and all, and would come in. It came on the radio that day.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was younger, and I didn't think too much about it at that time, but. Some of the older ones was affected them more, and there was several of them worked there and started enlisting in the service soon after that happened. And,
Well, I understand your mama didn't want you to go either, did she?
She didn't want me to enlist. I mean, that's for sure. And so I didn't get to enlist. And so I just was waiting. They called me and drafted me in 42. And that's when I went.
1942. And you had 2 brothers that went also?
Yes, in World War II. And I had one brother in Korea, and then another brother was served in peacetime, then in the Navy 4 years.
I see.
Peacetime.
And you spent a little time in Jefferson Barracks up at St. Louis, right?
Yes, that's where it started out at.
Yeah. And you done your, is that where you done your basic?
No, just was there for not too long a time.
You had a lot of training though, didn't you?
Yes, I did. We went to Louisiana from Jefferson Barracks to
Yeah.
Camp Claiborne, Louisiana, and that's where I got all my basic training at down there.
Now you got to come home for 60 days after you finished your basic training, wasn't it?
Well, I see. I know that was after when I got out of the service. I come home 30 days after basic training.
I see. Now you told me while you was in Louisiana training, you was out in that old swamp quite a bit, wasn't you?
Yes, we was in that 1943 maneuvers. They say it was the largest one they ever had down there, and we lived out there for about 2 months or longer.
Now, what did you did you take your provisions or did you
Took everything with us that we.
You had to got low on something to eat though, didn't you?
No, they fed us.
Did they?
They fed us out there, but we took all of our personal stuff.
You
with
didn't
us.
have to eat any alligator while you was out there.
No, no.
Well, that swamp's a rough place, isn't it?
Pretty rough place. Had to be careful with coral snakes down there.
Yeah.
We had one guy that fell into a hole one night, and he was dead when they brought him out because he'd been bitten so many times with coral snakes that he.
Those things are. They claim there's no anti-serum for those coral snakes.
Coral is pretty potent.
Yeah.
And he was dead when they got him out of the hole. I didn't know him, but that's sad.
They told me, or you told me that you learned real quick in basic training not to volunteer.
That's exactly right.
What they asked for something one day.
They wanted truck drivers. And we held our hand up, but we got wheelbarrows assigned to us. All the rocks.
You probably didn't volunteer a lot after that, did you?
That taught you right there.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Well, in December of '42, you were somewhere in Texas, wasn't you?
December of 43.
Was it 43?
Yes.
At Camp House, Texas.
Camp
Is that right?
House,
Now, what'd you do? What'd you study down there?
Well, just more training and out on some more maneuvers around the lake up in Oklahoma and getting prepared for overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, were you in the artillery or heavy artillery or?
I was in heavy weapons of the infantry. I had 81 millimeter mortars. Section sergeant in that.
And then you went on a train to New Jersey.
New Jersey.
From that Oklahoma or Texas deal.
Yeah, from down at Camp House, Texas.
And they put you on a ship and.
After a while in New Jersey, and then we loaded on a ship and landed in Marseille, France.
Yeah. And while you was on that on that ship overseas, you'd probably never been on a big boat like that or ship. And
No.
The first thing you do is get seasick, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
And how long do you stay seasick?
Well,
So you don't have anything else to do.
You don't have anything else. That's about right. Pretty rough. The North Atlantic was rough.
Just about there. Now, Gordy Evans, I think he said he didn't get seasick.
He didn't.
And he must have had a good stomach on
I
him.
guess.
Well, I guess it probably wasn't too much longer after that. You were subjected to some of your first battles, weren't you?
Yeah, we went into battle. I think it was Veterans Day of '44. That's when we first got up to the battlefield. We had to travel from Marseille, France, for 2 days, I think it was, on trucks to get up to the front lines. So we encountered battles after that.
Yeah.
Not constantly, but
Now the Germans had real good tanks too, didn't they?
Yeah, that's they did.
And
Yeah,
I understand that they had some really tough tanks.
yeah.
And if I'm not remember right in the front, they were sloped pretty good, to where a big shell would hit that and then just kind of glance up.
That's right. They did. Yes, they did.
And part of that region, was it a little mountainous over there?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
That's where we went in both Edge Mountains. That's where we started into.
Now, did you see any of the artillery and what have you being transported with mules while you was over there?
No, I didn't see any with.
I think that was a lot of that was in a different area, but I was just curious if you did.
No, I didn't see any with mules over there. No.
Was it cold over there that time when you got there?
It was cold, and it got colder, and a lot of snow. We had a lot of snow, and
Did you?
yeah.
I know a lot of the boys had trouble with their feet too, didn't they?
Yes, it did. I was lucky I didn't get any frostbite from the feet.
I know the Underwood boys, they was telling about how cold their feet got.
Yeah.
One of them had left their boots up on top one night and woke up the next morning full of snow.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I woke up different mornings with snow covered all over me. That with a sleeping bag. Yeah.
Well, Elmer, I don't want to really talk about this much, but I know you was in a battle and got wounded. Just tell me what you want to about that. Don't go into details, but just tell me what you feel like you want to tell me.
Well, it doesn't really bother me too much. It's there, and it was on March the 15th of 45, and we'd been in lull for quite a while, but we'd had a lot of training, visual training, and talking to us and everything. And then the big day came by. They laid down smoke screens, and that was the push off, and the Germans were waiting for us, of course, and we went through living hell that day, and worst that I'd been into, and trying to get through some wooded area, and that's the only way we had to go. And they decided with their 88s that they had, they could fire them any way they wanted to. They decided to cut the tops out of the trees when we was trying to get through. And those tree bursts are about the worst that you can get, because they come right down on top of you like that, and that's when I got hit. And left hand, and lost the use of my left hand, and hit it in the leg, and a broken leg, and so the medics patched me up and told me to keep my hand elevated, and they got me back up on a line where they had all of us lined up there, and so there was somebody crawled up there where I was at, and I didn't know who he was, but he said "Sig, Sig," and I knew what he wanted. He was wounded in German, and he wanted a cigarette, and so I gave him a cigarette, and we had those flameless lighters, and he wanted to light, and of course he thanked me, and there's Donkey Shane, that's the thank you. Well, I figured he was just knocked out just like I was.
Probably,
And he crawled back down where he was supposed to be, and and that's where they had them out down there away from us. But
well, they were human beings just like you were.
And he was there because he had to be just like that I was, you know. And so laid there all night, and
I guess you probably hurting pretty bad.
Yeah, and then I had an old raincoat on, and it held fluid better inside than it did outside. And I'd turn over a little bit, and that sounded like he's scalding a hog in a barrel. That was my blood that I was sloshing in. So they picked me up the next morning about 9 o'clock or something on back of a Jeep with a stretcher on it, and crossed the rough country with a broken leg, and jar. And I'd lost enough blood that the time I got back to Field Hospital, I went out of it, and I was out for 2 days before I get enough blood pumped in you to bring you back to life,
Yeah.
real life.
Well, thank goodness for those field hospitals, and
Yeah.
I know they can't be right there on the front line, but man, you got to have them.
Got to have them. Yeah.
And thank goodness for them. I know that's always been a problem. I think it was, from what I've read and told in history books, the Civil War was, for their wounded, was the worst
Yeah.
in history, I guess, that I've read about.
I guess that's about right on that. Yeah.
Well, you don't have any regrets, I know, from serving in the military.
Oh no, I'm pretty well military oriented. I don't have any regrets from it.
And the country at that time had some wonderful leadership through crisis, and I know you mentioned Roosevelt and Harry Truman.
Oh yes.
And they were men, weren't they? They were
sir.
true men and said what they meant,
Yeah.
and wasn't criticized by all the news media.
No.
And
No, they're right.
I wish things could be like that today.
Yeah, that's right.
There's some things we probably don't need to know about as U.S. citizens, but the military, we need a good, strong military, don't we?
That's exactly right.
And I heard on the news a week or two ago where so many of the young men growing up are too heavy to even be in the military.
Well, that's right. But,
I think a third of the young men are too heavy now to even be considered to go in the military.
I think so. Yeah, sure do.
Well, when the war hadn't ended, but I guess your fighting days was over, and did they send you home or back to the field hospital? Or?
I had a real big, nice hospital there in France that they sent me to. And then I stayed there, and they got me stabilized and fixed up, good enough to travel. And then they loaded us on a hospital ship, and we came back. We came back the southern route, they called it, and then so the waters wouldn't be so rough as the North Atlantic, and it would take us a lot longer to get back because we took a longer route. And we landed in Charleston, South Carolina.
Did you?
And stayed there for a short time, and then they was on a train again, and all the way across country. I went to Brigham City, Utah, to a big hospital out there.
Oh yeah.
And,
oh yeah, I know another story you told me about a barn you stayed the night in. Tell us that story.
Oh well, after we lucked out on that one is out on patrol one night, and we had assignment to do, and there's 6 or 7 with me. I was leader of the group, and the platoon sergeant said we didn't have to be back that night if we found a place to sleep. We could find what we was looking for, and find a place to sleep and come back the next morning like that. And so we finished what we were supposed to do, and we found a barn, and I said, well, we'll just sleep in that barn. And so it had a hayloft that was split, and all the farm boys knows what. There's solid ones that goes all the way across, and there's that are open in the middle, and you can look right up and see the roof up there, and the haylofts on each side. So you have a ladder nailed to the wall on each side, and so we took the right side, climbed up there, and gotten some hay up there, and a nice place to sleep. Spent the night there, and so next morning we left, and coming down there, and we ran into some other Americans, and they said, where'd you guys stay last night? We said, in that barn back down there, and they said, you're kidding? I said, no. Why? He said, well, we just captured these Germans here, and said there was about 5 or 6 of them, and they said that's where they spent the night at, and they had an interpreter with them, I think, like that, and they climbed up on the other side of the hayloft, and they was in there when we got there. Well, they heard us, but we didn't know they were there, and they kept quiet all night because they didn't want to have a fight, get in a fight anyway. And they, during the night, we was all sound asleep, and they sneaked out there real quietly and down the ladder and got out of there, and then they got captured.
And so they spent the night on one side of the hayloft, and we
Yeah.
spent it on the other night.
Well, evidently they didn't snore.
And then so I think they must have stayed awake all night.
Probably so.
And so they knew we was probably all sound asleep, and so anyway, they didn't want to get into battle, I guess, and so we lucked out on that. If we'd climbed up the left side instead of the right
that's right.
side,
Ooh, boy.
it'd been trouble.
Yeah, it sure would. Well, anyways, you finally got home, and when you are back to the States, and when you got in the States, you still had a rough go of it, didn't you?
Yeah, I spent 21 months in different hospitals. And had about 10 major operations to get all fixed up because they had to have different skin grafts and different things and all to fix up. And so I came from out Brigham City, Utah. Then they sent me to O'Reilly General Hospital at Springfield, be closer to home.
Yeah.
And they could do there what needed to be done. So I had all my operations out there at Springfield,
And that's when your wife now,
your
sweetheart then came to see you.
She went back. I was home a week on time, and then she went back out, and then she had to go back to St. Louis, go to work. But then after I got to where I could walk on, they took the cast off my leg, and I went to St. Louis and on a train and walking on my ankle had been in that cast for so long that it had to break loose and it swelled up pretty big like that. And nurse Wax were on the train with me and asked me if I had an ace bandage, and I did have, and they bandaged my ankle real tight, and it helped out with that. But then we got married in St. Louis when I was there then, and so then.
Now she worked up there too, didn't she? Or wasn't she a Rosie the Riveter?
Yeah, she worked in the defense plant.
Yeah.
And while I was,
And you told me she worked with Frida Fulkerson.
yeah, she did, and Helen Lee.
Helen Lee.
Who I was trying to think of.
Was
it?
Yeah. Yeah.
She married.
Both them's Aquila gals.
Yeah, both of them Aquila gals.
Yep.
And she worked with them up in that same plant. They did. And yeah.
And then you got discharged in '46. Is that right?
Well, I left. I had to go from they closed down O'Reilly General Hospital, and I went to to El Paso, Texas, and Beaumont General Hospital outside of El Paso, and I spent some 4 or 5 months down there, I guess, or something like that, and did a little more or whatever to me, and I finally left there in December of '46, so I'd get home in time for Christmas, and but I had 60 days of accumulated leave built up, and I had to serve that before I got discharged, and so they mailed my discharge to me at Bloomfield, and I got it on the day that I was supposed to be discharged, on that same day, and that was Valentine's Day of '47.
Valentine's '47.
That I was discharged from.
And I'm sure you was worried about getting a job, but luckily you got a job right here in Dexter, didn't you?
Yeah. It's quite a while though after that. It's about July of that '47 or August, something like that. And I went to work for Bud Shell's dad, Super Shell, they call him, in the down Ford Place, in the parts department, and the GI Bill, and learning about the parts and everything like that.
How much did a new car cost back then? In '47.
About $1,600 like that, and you can get it.
Had a radio too, didn't it?
Yeah.
With or without?
Yeah, you didn't have too much things on it. Like
Maybe
that.
not had a radio station, but anyways. And you worked for Mr. Shell there
about
3 or 4 years?
4 years, something like that, and I had a opening for somebody to go to work at the post office, and I took
Here in Dexter?
Yes, I took a chance on that by going to work without having taken a test, and so I had to pass the test to stay, but
Did you?
But I did. Well, I had a 10-point preference because I was a disabled veteran, and that added something to me.
Well, good.
And I went to work there in '51 and about August, something like that. And
That's the year I was born.
51.
So they tell me.
Yeah. And so I managed to stay with that and did a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and worked part-time each mornings and evenings and inside and delivered packages and substitute rural care or city carried on 2 different routes like that, which like to kill me with my son. I already had a wounded leg.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. And then I finally got inside as a clerk. Somebody retired, I guess it was, and stayed with that till then that 73, I guess it was. I retired in 73 because my leg got to give me so much trouble. I had.
But you got 22 years in at the post office.
Well, yeah, and then I had 4 years military, a little over 4 years, and that gave me 26 years credible time for civil service, and so I just take it and got out while I could like that.
And I know you've been real active here in your community. I understand this down the road here is the First United Methodist Church, and y'all are a member of, and been very active in that, and enjoy worship services there. And Elmer is also very high in the order of the Masons, and he's been 60 years with the Masons, isn't that right?
Yeah, a little over 60.
And tell us a little bit about the degree of Masons that you're up to now, or the honor and the honorary degree.
Well, that sounds like you're bragging, but I don't intend to be a brag about it. But it's the high honor, though. I belong to the Scottish Rite, they call it that too, and I'm also a Shriner. But in the Scottish Rite, you go up and you pay your fees to get in, and then you're 32nd degree when you finish that, and after that, well, you just stay there and pay your dues each year or whatever, and according to how active you are and how much you've done and so on as to whether you go up any higher or not. And so I guess I was sort of active. I took a lot of candidates up there, and then I moved up to another notch. They call it Knight Commander Court of Honor, or KCCH, and they bestowed that on me, and you don't buy that.
Yeah.
And then I was that for 10 years, I guess, and I was still pretty active in that, and had some more candidates for classes. I had 10 in 2 different classes, 10 candidates, and came around. They bestowed the 33rd degree on me, and which is the highest honor that there is, and highest degree that there is in Scottish Rite Masonry.
And you had a Bloomfield native to help you out a lot up there too, didn't you? Elvis Mooney?
Brother Elvis Mooney, it was quite a fix in that. I'm sure that he done a lot for me for that. And, we were real good friends together. Yeah.
Now, Elmer, I see you've also been very active in the VFW and American Legion.
Yes, I'm a past commander of the VFW and the American Legion, and disabled American Veterans, DAV. I've been that twice. I've been commander of that out there twice. I'm a life member of the VFW and life member of the DAV, and of course I belonged to the Legion for 63 or 4 years, and VFW about a year longer than that.
You don't go to Puxico and help them fix them goat burgers, do you?
I'm just a little bit too old. I belong to the VFW at Puxico. But I don't think I need to try to get into that. I don't think it'd be too tiresome on my legs, and but I support it.
And I assume that you go to the Veterans Hospital at Poplar Bluff now, occasionally when you have to.
Yeah,
And they give you pretty good treatment, don't they?
Good treatment.
Good
there.
deal.
And
Good deal.
Yeah, they furnish all my medications and stuff for me, and eye care and dental care and all that. So
Elmer, I know there's been a lot of stuff on the news lately. You know, it's happened overseas. Their ambassador got slayed over there, you might say, and they're burning the American flag. What does that do to you when you see them burning an American flag? And
that does
hurts, don't it?
Hurts
Bad.
Fact of the matter is, I give a tribute to the flag, and I've given it several different times. At one place, over 150 people there, and I've had this tribute that I give just from memory.
Yes, sir.
And I've got to give it at our church on Veterans Day, which is on the 11th, is on Sunday. And then after that, for Eastern Star installation on a Tuesday after that, she asked me to give it there. And then I'm going to the Scottish Rite Club, Cap Hall Scottish Rite Club at the Cape on a Wednesday of that December, Wednesday after Veterans Day. They don't have anything for a program that day. I told them that they want me to, and they wanted me to give that flag tribute up there. That it's pretty inspiring.
Elmer, I'd like for you to do a favor to me and the community. I'd like for you to go to some of the grade schools and show these kids in upper grade school how to take care of that flag, how to fold it up. Learn those kids to respect that flag if it'd be possible. You think you might could work that into some schools? The kids would love it too.
Yeah, well, you might if we had someone to go along with you and fold the flag and show them how to fold.
They'll work on that for us, all right?
I might just do that.
I think our younger generation needs to learn to respect that flag in this country.
Yes, I sure hate to see it desecrated against and burned as it is. Yes. And we still have it in this country. Some of it, some groups still are doing that, you know. A lot of it was during the Vietnam War.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I know you've made the trip with the World War II veterans to Washington, D.C., and what was that an enjoyable?
Oh, that was very, very enjoyable. About 3 years ago, I guess it was. I went, and it was...
There's a time during that they roll out the red carpet, I've been told. Where is that at?
I don't know.
I think it's when you get to Washington, D.C., isn't it? They roll out the red carpet then?
They treated us royally, I'll tell you that. You couldn't ask for anything better. It was really
I know we talked about it on one of our previous shows.
Yeah. It was something that every World War II veteran ought to try to go and
I tried to get Joe Brown to go on that, and he just wasn't too interested in going. Well, his legs won't let him, but he thinks he has to walk everywhere, I guess.
No, they have wheelchairs and somebody to push you if you want to go without. Yeah. They'll get you around.
And you got to see Bob Dole, and he was a wounded veteran, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And a good man, isn't he?
Good man. Yeah. He greeted us down at the World War II Memorial. Yeah, he was down there.
Well, Elmer, thanks for being our guest on our program today.
You're very welcome.
Really appreciate you, and the community appreciates you. And we'd like to give you, YHC, give you the cap today. It says Hometown Heroes on it.
Oh, that is real nice of you.
It's not quite as nice as that one you have on, but we appreciate you, Elmer.
That's real good. That's real good. I'll wear it for y'all.
Well, that concludes our visit with Elmer today, Wilson, and thanks for tuning in. And like I say, if you like our program, help us out a little bit, and we'll talk to you at another time and another hero.